Hi, Jay Frederick Smith here, Continental Realty of Jackson. We're at 4023 Skycrest Lane in Jacksonville, Windy Hills neighborhood, and we're just heading on in to see what the inside of this place looks like. So, looks like it's been recently remodeled with a fresh, well, okay, not fresh. Recently, within the last few years, because I say that because, as you can see, we've got some chipping on the floor here and here, here, for example, and there's some on the ends of a lot of this, the flooring that's put down. This is not a vinyl plank flooring. This is a laminate flooring, and laminate means that this top coat is some kind of a plastic or vinyl, in this case probably a plastic, and then underneath it it's some kind of pressed material like paper. Typically it's paper. And so what happens when this chips off like this here in these corners, then it becomes susceptible to moisture. Now, that doesn't mean that there's a problem with these floors, because they do look like they're in great shape. This is just a sign, this is a sign of wear. It's just an age thing, okay? Just so you know. Also, I'm noticing a little change in the height of the floors. So I don't know if you can see it along there, but from here it goes up, and then it goes down behind the chair and the table. It actually appears to do that. This is an older home. Off-grade properties like this always have some warping in the floor. It's very common, so that's not necessarily an issue either, okay? So just so you can see that, though, it's definitely going to be something that you're going to want to have your inspector take a look at. The home's been freshly painted, although they did not really do a whole lot as far as other work, such as the outlets still are older with the old paint color on them. So the blue behind that, rather than replacing those, they just, maybe put another coat of paint on them. So, but it's a decent size living room space here for the size of house that it is, with two windows that let in a nice amount of light into the room. And with it staged like this, you can get a nice feel for what it would look like if you had your own things in. You probably have to put your TV there where that picture goes. The kitchen. So let's just look at the dining room and the kitchen together. This is a tiled space. They use these 12 by 24 gray tiles, which I typically like. The grout is actually a lighter colored grout. It's not dark. The darkness is from dirt, basically. This is a white grout, so as you can tell, they definitely need some cleaning. That's what it is. But we've got some other things going on here too. So if you look here, you'll see that we've got some cracking in this tile. There's some cracking in that tile and some cracking over there. And cracking on a floor that's on an off-grade property like this one is, what that typically means is that the floor has some flex. So where this crack is here, when you step, it's pushing down on the tile and allowing it to crack. That's what that's all about typically. And there's enough cracking here that I'm definitely concerned about what's going on underneath. It's possible that when they put the tile down, they did not realize the amount of support that a tile base would need, and that would allow, for the cracking to happen. But it's still, like I said, it's pretty dirty. Let me see here. If we look back here in this corner, you can see the color of the grout, what it's supposed to be. Okay, I don't know how you can see that because of the light, but it's pretty white. Like an off-white, not a bright white. But compare that to what we have here, and you can see the difference. Big difference. All right, let's see. We've got typical drop-in 2-basin sink. This is the lowest cost sink that you can get, with a very basic faucet and a spray. Now, this is not original equipment. It's been here for a while, though. you can tell because of the discoloration and the lime buildup on the spray head. Also, it looks like maybe they tried to glue this down or something, or maybe that's just lime buildup along the faucet as well. There is no garbage disposal here. The backsplash is nice. This nice tile back, subway tile backsplash looks really good. Cabinets maybe freshly painted, possibly replaced. Yeah, I think that the cabinets have been replaced. They look like they're new. I'm not sure. Oh, so this is just a, you know, you could put your wine bottles in there maybe. That's what that's all about. The cabinets are replaced, which makes me wonder why they went back to this. Probably this sink was original and they just popped it out and then put in the new countertop and then slid the sink back in. I bet that's what happened. The range leaves much to be desired. It's definitely an older range that, you know, the coil, heater, a burner variety. Kenmore is an okay brand, but it needs, you know, it needs some help, at least some cleanup. The refrigerator is a black Frigidaire, so nothing really matches. There is no dishwasher. Oh, and also, I'm not sure if all of these cabinets were replaced, because we have some things going on here with them that make me feel like maybe, you know, they weren't. Or maybe what's happened is, well, yeah, these cabinets they just look really good. I guess maybe they could be newer as well. This is a plastic or vinyl wrapped cabinet face. There is no seam here. You know, if this was an actual wood cabinet, you would see a place where this bottom plate was joined to this side plate here, and where this little panel was fitted in. But as you can see, there's nothing. And then when I feel the edge of it, as you can see, it separates. So that's a plastic cover, and some people like that and some people hate it. I just was showing you. The laundry room has a sheet vinyl floor down, which is good because you don't need to have problems with water spilling out, except that they didn't do anything about the edges, or what flooring guys would call the margins. Around the sides, the vinyl is all pulling up, or it's not set down correctly. It has not been sealed, so it doesn't really help, you know, if you get a spill in here, to have a full sheet of vinyl if the edges are curled up like this, right? This water just goes right underneath it, right past it. But that's, you know, not too hard to fix, and it may actually be a non-issue if this what's underneath here is cement. I would still, you know, want to make sure that that was sealed up. A couple of shelves up in here for your cleaning supplies. There's the dryer connection and the vent. The washer connections are here, and they even threw in a pigtail and a couple of hoses. That would be the outlet that you would use for your washer. But you've got a couple of other outlets as well, so who knows what else you could put in here. Maybe like a freezer, or some other appliances would also be, you know, it would fit. All right. There's no door in, which is interesting because they've got this crazy lock. And why would you have a lock like that if the door, oh, I see. There's no doorknob, that's why. There's no doorknob. So there's just a little pull handle. And be careful with this, because if you pull closed, this handle is so close to this piece of wood that you will absolutely squish your fingers. No doubt about it. The light, you know, if this is an LED light, then that could be concerning. It could have to do with having a lack of power at that light. Once again, something you're going to want your inspector to check. The back door here goes out into the backyard. We've already looked at all of that, so we're not going to go back to it. I just wanted you to see. And the deadbolt does not, I cannot get the deadbolt to stay closed. So such is life. All right, let's head down into the hallway here. We've got the same laminate flooring in what appears to be all three bedrooms. Thank you so much for using the same floors everywhere. And the same green tile in the bathroom that we saw in the kitchen. The furnace I can tell it's the furnace because of the louvered doors. Looks good, nice and clean. There is, I believe, an install date of 2018, which is perfect. Not a lot of dust in here. It looks really good. The track for the door is installed correctly. The knob for the door it's not quite in the right place, but it's close enough. This actually works really well. There's a little closet, hall closet here for your linens with just some shelving here. Enough room there for really, you know, a good size amount of blankets and towels and sheets and whatnot. So that's the closet. Let's go look at the restroom. Looks like we've got a wet wall here. Maybe the tub is and whatnot is on this side, which is why there's that weird looking cutout. It's nice to have a way to get to the back of the tub and the shower, because if there's a leak or something, or you need to change out a valve for some reason, having this little panel that has access sure makes that a lot easier for a contractor to do their work. But that doesn't mean I necessarily appreciate having that in the hallway where I can see it. I don't know, I maybe put a plant in front of it. There is lots of mirrors here and a big pattern medicine cabinet in the middle. These are all pretty dinged up. The hinges have been painted. As you can see, there's a lot of dings around the edges where the wood has worn down in various different places along here. You know, it's probably okay, but might think about maybe doing something about that later on, right? You know, you can pull these out and put in another one. 6 lights over the mirrors there give a lot of light for the bathroom. There is an opaque window, but there is no fan. So what that means is when you're in the shower here, especially with this being off-grade, you really need to make sure that you're opening this guy up, because the moisture from here is going to cause all sorts of damage. And you can see up in the corner here a little bit what I'm talking about. This is moisture damage from that shower, the steam from that shower, and it will spread and cause all sorts of trouble. So without having a fan, you're really going to want to make sure, once again, that this little window is open, and open long enough for all the steam to come out. Tile surround for the shower tub. The tub looks pretty good. I'm not seeing signs of it being painted. That doesn't mean it hasn't been, but you know, I'm not seeing signs of it. And where the flooring has been installed, there is a piece of cord around over the top edge of the tile, so probably sealed up pretty well, but not sealed so well here along the wall. This definitely needs some cleanup. And also, by looking down the wall, I can kind of see that the tile, when it was installed, was not installed on a flat. This is not a flat wall at all. It's very crooked, wobbly, and it goes in quite a lot down there at the bottom. It sticks out close to the top of the tub. So you can kind of see some of it right here, where the tiles go up and then it goes back down. You can see it with the little ones here. Makes this little ledge. And we've got kind of the opposite on this side. So there's like a bulge right here, which is probably a beam. The tiles don't really line up very well either. If you look down, you know, it should be a straight line for grout, but as you can see, it's pretty wobbly. A couple of different reasons. Maybe it was just the homeowner that did the tile work. That's a possibility, because you know, you see this little place where these four they don't meet up like they're supposed to. Or just the condition of the wall, it just made it hard for whoever did the tile work to actually get a nice, flat, clean looking surface. Either way is possible. The vanity here sits right next to the toilet. The vanity has 2 doors and then a solid top, and then the very low cost faucet, which has some gunk on it, but that's okay. The outlet plate is the vinyl non-breakable one, but I hate these because they do with heat and moisture tend to warp out like this, and then they get ugly really fast. All right, so let's just check the bedrooms and then we'll be done. Bedroom number 1 here in the corner. The light is working good in here. Same flooring everywhere, in about the same condition that we saw in the little living room, maybe a little bit better. There is one older window here. You can kind of see, if I open this up, the latches there that you could use to open these. These are single pane windows, and so there is a tree or something right next to it to block the sun, but if the sun hit that window, this room would get hot fast. There is another double pane window back here, which is much better. There's a bar and a rack, and then above that, a shelf. The bar doesn't have appropriate supports, and it probably was having trouble holding the weight of the clothes, so what do? They run some zip ties there, you know, to hold that so that bar doesn't fall down. It really needs like a metal support from the center down to the wall, but that'll do it in a pinch. There's not a lot of room to get stuff up there to this top shelf because the distance from here to there is really very, very small, as you can see. So you're not going to get big boxes up there, but the opening is big enough to shove in blankets and whatnot if that's what you wanted to do. The door rolls on the track and it closes nicely. So that's bedroom number 1. Bedroom number 2, and I guess this is the master because it's definitely bigger at maybe 16 or 17 by 14 is my guess. Flush mount light. As you can see, looks like a double bed, fits in there real good. You can easily fit a queen in here. You could probably get a king in this room. It's big enough. 2 nice windows to let in lots of light. These are newer windows, so you're going to have a good amount of insulation factor from them. We've got some older outlets here, and then that concerns me because now I'm going to want to take a look at the electric panel to see if the wiring was redone, or if it's old wiring, because an old outlet like that doesn't have a ground. If they ran the new wiring in and they left this old outlet, then that makes me wonder. But with that old outlet there, and then these newer grounded outlets in, even though they're newer meaning, you know, not ungrounded like this one. That also is a concern because it could be that they put in this kind of outlet and attached it to the old ungrounded wires. And that could be an issue all by itself. Okay, so here we've got in the closet, we've got a bar and a shelf and an upper shelf. And we've got kind of the same issues here that we had in the other one, where there's a space that for this shelf, you could get things in here, but that shelf back there, it's just gonna be really hard to get anything that's boxes up in there. You don't see a hanger or anything here for this bar, but you know, it probably doesn't need it for that distance of a run. The closet closes really nice. Very smooth action on that. So that's good. Okay. And as you can see, we've got warping on this electrical plate because this is vinyl unbreakable ones. They just bend instead of break. So let's just stop for a second and have a look at the panel. It's a General Electric panel, but it's an older panel, and I can tell you that because we've got the main breaker in the panel rather than outside. When the breaker's inside here like this, that's indicative of an older panel. Code over the last maybe 15 years has been to have this breaker outside so that the fire department is able to shut off the power without having to look for the panel inside the house. That's the main reason, especially when there's probably gas or whatnot. Getting the power turned off could really be important. The access to the attic is here in the hallway, and looks like there's a couple of places that you can get in. One thing also, the ceiling in this little hallway area is really low at maybe 7 feet, and you probably can't see the difference here, but maybe, well, no, you're not gonna be able to see the difference, but maybe you can with a little look like that. So in here is the normal 8 feet. This is a 7 foot. So the last bedroom, we've got a different light. Again, they did not have this in the master, but had it in the other guest bedroom. One older window. This is the front-facing one that we were looking at as we were walking up to the house. And the room is maybe 12 or 13 by 12 or 13, something like that. It's not huge, but good enough for a guest room. The closet is deep and maybe it's 36 by 36 in size with a bar and 2 shelves. And these shelves sit far enough back that it would you'd easily be able to get lots of good stuff, big boxes and whatnot on both of them. So at least one closet is good on that. All right, so pros and cons. Oh, did we look at the floors? You know what, I think I forgot to look at the floors in here. Let's have a quick look at the floors in the restroom. So the tile floors, first off, I'm not seeing warping or cracking really. Oh wait, maybe I am. Yeah. So as you can see here, we do have some cracking in the flooring, which means that the floor has been flexing at that spot, right? Either over here or over here has been going down and causing this piece here to flex down like that. Now when you put grout down, it basically turns all of this into one big sheet. So you can get cracking all over the place, but typically a crack like that is the result of downward pressure from a flex in the floor here or there, you know, when the crack is there. It's kind of on either side of it, but I'm not seeing cracking anywhere else. The floor looks, you know, okay as far as that goes, although it is definitely sloping towards the tub, and you can see that actually with the little tiles. They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as you get closer to the tub. So the floor kind of slopes down this way towards the tub. The problem there is that when water comes out of the tub, and it will because you don't have a shower door, you've got a curtain. When water comes out of there, it's going to flow right down against this quarter round piece, and it won't take very long at all, maybe a year or two, for that caulk that's there to dry out, and then water's going to start seeping into the floor. My recommendation here is that you put in some glass shower doors. That will really prevent most of the water from getting onto the floor. Really, I mean, people say curtains good, but I'm telling you, as a landlord who has plenty of rentals where there's families involved, the kids, if there's kids that get into this tub, they will get water all over the place with the curtain, but they will not when there's a glass shower door, as long as those doors are closed when they're in the tub. And you know, it's probably true for adults as well. I'm also noticing, and I forgot to mention, there's quite a lot of caulk here. And why is that big globs of caulk? Well, typically there's big globs of caulk because, you know, there was a big hole or there was some other thing there that made that putting that amount of caulk down a necessity. So, okay, I see. All right, so this nice little house on Skycrest Drive, off-grade, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, dark laminate flooring, tile in the kitchen with some cracking, and all the cracking could be the result of age also, just so you know. There's some interesting other things though, like this seam on the ceiling, and that's possibly there was a wall there or something. Hard to say, but you know, they didn't do a very nice job of repairing whatever that was. I think though that what it is a crack, and the crack is reappearing. So they caulked over it, but they just didn't, you know, fix whatever the real issue is there, which is, to me, which is a concern. But once again, you have an inspector to look at properties like this to make sure that everything's good. Being off grade is always a down, in my opinion. It's not on a slab. I wish it was, but it is a concrete block home, which is great. The size of the living room and the size of the bedrooms are good. The fact that it's only 1 bath, you know, for this size of house, that's actually typical. I like the size of the kitchen, and it has enough room for a little dining room. That's really nice. I wish that the deadbolt's locked. That would be helpful. I probably want to replace that range and get a vent hood over the top of it there. You have power right there, so that would be easy to do. You do have a vent on the ceiling, but a range hood is going to catch smoke, you know, at least a small amount of smoke coming up off the burner right away. And that'll prevent, you know, trouble with your smoke alarms going off, which, by the way, I don't see any. None, not one. And that's definitely something that you're going to want to have. I like the size of the laundry room. I like the backyard. It is a big backyard though, so you have to be prepared for doing some mowing. And this time of year, you know, that's every week probably you have to be out there with the lawnmower. So that's it. Hope you liked the house, or at least appreciated the walkthrough. We're going to get out of here and on to the next one, and we'll see you there.